Hello everyone, welcome for this new Embers Adrift weekly community show. Thank you very much for joining us, may it be on Twitch TV, hello chat, and to all of you on YouTube, thank you very much for your visit. Thank you to all of you that are dropping a like, giving some comment, asking question. If you have anything that you would like to see on this show, do not hesitate to ask in the comments below. You will also find a link towards the unedited version of the show on Twitch TV. You can check it out on my VOD, so you will find all information that you need in the comments, in the information below, in the info box. Today is going to be a very interesting day because it is the wipe. It is a new cycle. It is a new start. We have a new progression for you to test, and it's really important. It's also the reason why I didn't publish the show of last week, because it served no purpose. All of the information I was giving during that show was preparing for the wipe, but the wipe is here. So today we're going to discuss about all of the patch notes and several topics that are important. As for the gameplay, I will show you my new character that is starting up and leveling up with the new progression system, especially from a crafting point of view. And this time I've decided to try out a new crafting system. And after that we have a very interesting show, which is a squad stream together with Moreland TV and Pant, which are two awesome streamers. So very exciting time to celebrate this new start. So thanks to all testers that are continuing to test the game regardless of the wipes. Thank you so much. I know the wipes are sometimes really annoying because of that. For some other people it's very exciting, but I know for some it's really annoying. So thank you to continue and to be loyal and dedicated. We really do appreciate that. It's really helped our team to make the best game possible. I said coffee saying I'm excited to see what they changed for crafting. I was starting to get into that. And we are going to discover that immediately. So let's start up with the patch note. What is new? Happy belated summer solstice everyone. This week we bring you a number of seemingly small but fundamentally important changes that we have been iterating on for the past 3 weeks or so. Dropped gear has been more evenly distributed through the world, giving you a reason to fight non-humanoids. Crafting has undergone many design changes with the goal of making progression feel more meaningful. We are also working on gathering crafting specialization, which we hope to roll out in the coming weeks. Characters have been wiped and you will be all starting over from scratch. Leveling potions have been removed so that we can accurately assess leveling speed and progression fields. I know many of you have gone through the leveling process numerous times, but please leave feedback for how this particular iteration feels. I cannot stress enough how crucial the low-level experience is, and we have to get it right if we want the product to succeed. I know we don't have quests in coming soon, but please pay attention and leave feedback on how you feel about the leveling pace, character strength progression, and equipment progression. So, a few things to say about this. First of all, dropped gear has been more evenly distributed through the world, giving you a reason to find non-humanoid. That means that until now, you could not find a sword on a doe. It was not possible. Animals in the wilderness were giving you reagent and crafting materials, and from a lore point of view that was very immersive, and it is something we have a little bit been bragging about in different interviews and show presently. But because of the feedback of the players and other reasons, we have decided to spread that loot evenly between the animals and the humanoids, because players had the tendency to go farm only smugglers and thieves to gear up faster. So now you will have a possibility to find belts, boots and a sword on a doe or on a boar. as much as you will find it on smugglers. However, the region are still specifically on some creators and not on everyone. So, your feedback here is very important. You can explain whatever you want related to that, if you like it or not, etc. Crafting specialization, this is exciting, but we are going to discuss about that a little bit further. If you want to know everything about the patch notes, please do check out that thread or watch Alice Blue video. She's publishing the patch notes read for you every week on her YouTube channel. You will find once again all the information in the box below. Alright, something very, very interesting that you will probably notice strongly when you create your new character is the new ability Strike given to all characters at level 1 in addition of their normal role ability. This should help the early game feel a bit more engaging without sacrificing later balance, as this skill does not scale. So every character does have a new ability. So instead of having only one spell and you auto attack, you will have two spells and you auto attack, and it makes a very big difference in my opinion. It has also speed up a little bit the leveling process, so the people that were complaining that the combat in the first level were really slow, especially the level 1 from level 1 to level 2 was a little bit tedious according to some of the feedback we received, and that really alleviates that, and you have the feeling that you are doing more things. This new ability, however, is going to be useless at level 10, but at level 10 you will have plenty of other skill to use, and you will probably not want it anyway in your selection of spells, as you're still limited to 6 abilities in your bar anyway. So it really helped out the first level to be a little bit more active, and yeah, I will be curious to hear what you think about this new ability, how it does change your perception of the first level, if you enjoy or if you find that it betrays what the combat was originally. So very interested about your feedback regarding this. It's very important. So we do have several change done to the certain role. And here it's again, the equipment can now be sourced from more than just humanoid. This may be a step backward in terms of the team, like immersion-wise. Why did a doe drop a sword? But it lifts a number of self-imposed limitations on this design team. There should now be many reasons to hunt all of the different creatures in the game. And like I say, many players were complaining to be kind of forced to just farm thieves and smuggler before. And so I'm also very curious to hear your feedback about this. It's a very important point. New armor type, those are drop only for now, so you will not be able to craft them. Chitin, new visual, see below, heavier than metal armor and offers substantial protection for a penalty to movement and flanking bonuses. So that is the armor you will want as a tank. Chitin, if you don't know what it is about, it's insectoid parts. And scale, visual pending, I've seen them in progress already, it's going to be cool. Lighter than metal armor, heavier than leather, and offer a mix of protection and a slight flanking bonus. So if you want to see the chitin visual, here you have, so you can see that it's like insect carapace, right? Or crab carapace. You really have the feeling of a very strong, very armored, very solid carapace that you can serve. And look, the helmet is awesome. It's like you have just created a hole to have a mouse free and for the eyes, but it's a big carapace over there. I really like the flanking bonus. The flanking statistic has been added a few weeks ago. We have been discussing about that in past episodes. So it is a bonus and a new stat you will find on leather armor, which adds a little bonus to the movement bonus that you have already with your weapon. So you know your positional bonus when you're fighting a mob, you will have a roll bonus. For example, if you're a defender, you will get more aggro if you attack your target from the front. However, if you're a striker, you may have, I don't remember on top of my head, but you may have more penetration if you are attacking from the rear. For example, you also have different bonus type on your weapon, and that change from the weapon type, but it can also change depending of the drop you have found. You could have suddenly a bow that have specific bonus that you will only find on that very specific bow. So you always have to have a look to the weapon that you're carrying, to where it's more interesting to fight. And if you like the positional bonus, if it's something you enjoy to play around, flanking is going to be very interesting for you, because it will add some extra bonus to that. So it's pretty exciting. Yes, I do actually pay attention to that. I do. Of course, this is a question of min-maxing, and so if you're not a min-maxer, you might find it useless. But even when you are in a group, I think it's quite interesting. So in a group, if I play with my striker, for example, I will pay attention to place myself behind the mob or on the side of the mob. Depending of which bonus I find the most interesting, depending of the weapon I'm carrying. If I want to do a lot of crits, for example, I will choose whatever position is giving me more hits. If it's a very heavy armored target, you may want to take the position that will give you more penetration, for example. I think you can really play around that. That being said, it's a small bonus, so the people that don't care about it can also not pay attention to it, and they will still do the job. So it's really about, do you want to min-max and have all of the, to get the best out of your character, or you just want to play for fun? I personally find it funny to have to pay attention to that, because it adds an extra layer of strategy about your character, and it makes the game a little bit more interesting. But I don't think will you really make a difference because you do it or not? I don't know, maybe. In some really tough fight, it's probably going to make a difference. Well, it's for elite, or if you like to do it, really. I think that some people, like me, I'm really far from being an elite, but I like that aspect of the game. I think it's interesting because it's different. You don't have that in other games, so I like to play around with it. But for example, Frank, when I'm soloing as a supporter, I like to play with the staff that give you the bonuses from the front. So you will have bonus from the front, making the staff to be the best weapon to solo with as a supporter. And so that's how I do. I'm using my staff. I think it's also a very cool weapon. I personally like it very much. But for soloing, it's really great. And if I decide to continue to use my staff because I have found a very good staff, for example, and I'm in a group, I will be side by side with the tank facing the mob, which you usually don't do in video games, right? And usually the healer is supposed to be at the back. But here I'm like in front with the tank, hitting the mob with my staff, and then I just have to turn myself to bandage the tank, for example. It can be very convenient as well. Non-imbue crafted gear is once again on par with dropped gear. Note that flux is still required to draw the bonus stat out of the material used. So this is something related to crafting, and we're going to discuss about crafting a little bit more in detail below in a moment. Bonus fixes for crafted item with range and 200 damage bonus. And crafting recipe require more resource per combine, but also give more experience. Intermediate crafting components have been removed in favor of direct refined resource usage. For example, leather strips is leather, fletching is cloth, wooden shaft is wood. So yeah, so we had several subcategory of crafting item. All of that has been removed. You're going to see that a little bit later when you're going to craft, and then again your feedback is going to be really important. So here we go. We're going to speak about all of the crafting change. That's pretty important, but basically I will give you a summary rather than reading you the whole thing. So if you want to have the precise wording, check out the threads, that will be nicer, or check Alice Blue video. So now the recipe are more, there's more recipe basically that you will have to unlock. Before that you will have a general recipe how to make a sword, and then you could use different type of material and it will be the same recipe. Now the recipe have been divided in different tier of materials. So you have copper, you have tin, you have bronze, for example. You will have that leather, this type of leather, etc. That being said, remember that we have different value of the same elements. So for example, you will have regular copper, and then you have strong copper that you find into later zone that is higher level. You will still be able to use different type of copper within the same recipe, which is a copper sword, for example. So that's the first thing. So the reason, one of the downside of this system is that player often felt a lack of progression as they level up. So the fact that we had very little recipe. Those recipe didn't indicate when something new unlocked, so it really never provided you something to work towards. This extreme flexibility also prevented us from being able to show you what was possible unless you had the specific set of item in your inventory. So that's the reason why we have changed from the very flexible system that we had previously to something more tied up with different, very precise recipe to go through when you're crafting. There will be also a recipe that you will have to earn in future. You will have to do, for example, a quest to unlock them. So that's also another possibility into having more precise recipe. It's to give you the possibility of having those. And remember that we have been talking about the fact that you will have also gathering and crafting specialty that will really allow you to go in one direction and specialize into it. Recipe now have specific material requirement. Copper short swords require copper for the blade. Pine quarterstaff require pine for the staff, etc. Harvesting and crafting profession now start with recipe for copper, malachite, pine, flax, penbony, and lean carcass material. Other recipe will need to be found and learned. So that's very important. Other recipe will need to be found and learned. So that's where come the quests, for example. But it might be also other solution, like finding maybe a dropped recipe or something. I don't know. Maybe not now. Maybe that's not in game yet. Another important point for crafting, dropped versus crafted equipment. That has been a long discussion. We have been discussing about that in several different episodes, and we have been requested your feedback. How does it feel, the dropped item versus the crafted item? Obviously, the people that really like crafting, they want to be able to craft the best equipment possible with crafting. So they feel that their time and efforts and their quest for finding material is valuable. The same thing for the people that enjoy to do dungeon and they enjoy to hunt for the best item and to find a certain mob so they can have a chance to get the sword they really want, etc. So you had two different type of player that were excited for different things. So we find a way of making those two things absolutely possible by simply making certain a piece of equipment only craftable and some other piece of equipment only findable. So let me read this for you. One of the biggest issues we have been wrestling with over the past few weeks is how to make crafted gear not be terrible while also not stepping on the toes of adventurer. This ultimately led to the introduction of Ember Flux, which was felt was a big improvement overall. A lot of people were very excited to find the Ember Flux. To make sure that dropped gear remained viable, we ended up nerfing non-imbued crafting gear, which left many feeling a bit unsatisfied. So it's never fun to craft poop equipment, right? To remedy this, we are essentially separating the two so that no longer step on each other's toes. Some equipment slots will only be fillable with crafted gear, while others can only be filled with dropped gear. This is especially true in the early game. However, it is very well may change as players level up and crafting specialization are introduced, which may unlock additional recipe for crafter that allow you to make gear that was previously only obtainable via adventuring. There may also be exceptions to this rule when it comes to rare drops, etc. Think of this more as a guideline. So at the very beginning you will really have the two things separated, and as it evolves and as the game really specify and diversify, it might smoothen up. So it's the idea to really have players feel like it's exciting to craft and it's exciting to loot stuff. Hello Furballs, hi, how are you doing? We are discussing all of the change at the moment. Welcome on the special show. Something really exciting to speak about, guys. It's the Chameleon color improvement. Okay, that's a small detail. You remember that we introduced a few weeks ago, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, or maybe was it last week? I don't remember. Time is flying. So we introduced a new creature that is now inhabiting Red Shore Forest, which is the Chameleon. And they were all green and very much being a chameleon fading in the environment. They were really good at that. Now they do have different color, so you will have different type of chameleon with different type of color, which is really cool. But the really nice and fun stuff is that the chameleon, whilst they lose health, lose their color to become a kind of gray or white. So that's really exciting. You will see it in action today. So when you're fighting your chameleon, it starts to lose its color more and more and more to become gray. It's look really, really cool. So this is a little bonus things. It's not game breaking, but it's kind of fun. Chameleon tails curl the other way, just a head up. That might be true, but our artist decided to make the tail of that chameleon like that. So it's probably an animation reason, because it might be difficult to do that for a standing humanoid type of chameleon. It will just, you know, doesn't work nicely probably. They are also walking around on 2 feet, so it's okay if it's not exactly like a real life chameleon. Another really nice addition, guys, where we need to have your feedback. This week the tech was developed which opened the doors for repair kits and item augments. So this is a new technology, and we are going to take advantage of this to have repair kits and to have augment for weapon and for armor. We've been talking about that already before, that we wanted to have more consumable that allow you to tweak a little bit your playstyle. So, right-clicking one of those items will change your cursor to a different icon, similarly to selling or repairing, at which point you can click on one of your items to perform the action. Repair kits will allow you to repair a fixed amount of damage on an item. The cost to create a repair kit will be relatively expensive, as we want it to be cheaper overall to visit an anvil. Alright, that makes sense. So the repair kits you're carrying with you are more expensive than the anvil services. Augment will apply a temporary bonus to a piece of equipped gear at the cost of binding it to you, which means you will no longer be able to trade it. That's quite interesting, alright? If you're starting to use augment of your equipment, you will not be able to give it out to friends or to your other character if you once you want to get rid of it. Weapon augment currently come in the form of a plus damage pen hit and flanking and expire after a specific number of successful hits. We are still working through the design of inner and outer armor augment, so that's not in game yet. So the tech for repair kit and augment is in, but are not available in game. That will be there for soon. The recipe for those items will likely become available when crafting spec will come online soon. So all of that has been prepared, but that's not something you can experiment already this weekend. So Smartbone is saying, can the chameleon camouflage the grass and tree in the game? No, not really. And I think it's also the reason why we wanted them to be in different colors, so they stand out a little bit more into the grass, because otherwise when they were green they were very very discreet, and so we may want people to spot them more easily. So you can also find the work in progress over here, that's in the threads. So here it is. I'm giving you a link towards the patch notes, so if you want to know more about the patch notes, please check it out, read it for yourself, or check Alice Blue video if you don't like to read and prefer listen to someone reading for you. A very important point to discuss is the necessity of wipe. We do know that wipe is annoying for the players. Very often, players are investing themselves into a character, they are leveling, they are putting time and effort into it, and they don't want to see it deleted, which makes sense, even if they know it will, or there is a risk that it will. So we don't want wipe to happen too often. We also see the participation to testing drastically diminishing when a wipe is felt by the community, or when it's semi-announced. We have seen that the last weeks the participation of the test has been drastically diminishing all over the weekends. The more we were approaching to the wipe, even with our best effort to continue to provide events and activities and new stuff to try out. And it's natural and we understand it, but wipe are necessary during the beta testing process. We want to be sure that the game experience we are providing is good, therefore sometimes we do have to reset the whole game. Sometimes it's technical, there's a technical event that forces us to create a wipe, but sometimes it's just to reset the progression. And this is the case this time. We are changing crafting, we are changing several things about the early experience of the leveling process, and we are also changing how you will find your equipment. So this new experience have to be tested by players, and we need to know, what do you think about it? Furball is asking, do the Besta server run 24/7? No, they don't. So the server open the Wednesday evening. For America, for Europe, it's in the middle of the night, which is not convenient. That's a very focused test together with the dev, so all of the dev are present and the player can give their feedback directly, and we are generally hanging out in one channel on Discord, and it's really fun. It's very pleasant. It's also a way, you know, to just hang out together, but also for players to really give their feedback directly to the developer, and if there's a bug or different things to change, to be pre-patched before the weekend starts, that's being done on the Wednesday test as well. And so the Wednesday test is only lasting 4 hours, And then you have the weekend test, which we have expanded. So it starts the Friday at noon for America, or the evening for Europe, and it lasts up to the Tuesday. So it is the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, and the Monday, and a little bit of the Tuesday. So basically the server are offline the Tuesday night, the Wednesday during the day, and the Thursday, and that time is needed for the devs to work on the server. So another topic, spell casting. We do have a lot of questions. Oh, I wish I could have a caster, or I wish there would be magic. Embers Adrift is a low fantasy setting. This is something we have chosen to do. We wanted to do something different, like we could have chosen to do a steampunk world or a science fiction world. Now we decided to do low fantasy setting where magic was something very rare, very exceptional, and in Embers Adrift we call it alchemy. And we want it to be something natural that players can manipulate if they learn about it. So you will have some form of spell casting somewhere later in your progression if you put the time and energy into it, and if you choose to do so. It's going to be rarer, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to tackle in, but it's going to be present. It's going to happen when you will be able to manipulate Ember. The game is all about Ember. That's why the game is called Embers Adrift, right? So we are centering everything around that substance that contains an untapped and mysterious power in which players and all of the people of New Haven are trying to understand and are trying to learn. So you have all of the lore related to the Ember, but you have also the gameplay possibility, and you will discover that soon enough. It is not in game yet, we have not arrived to that point yet, so you have no idea at the moment of how this will happen. But basically, your ability, you will be able to empower some of them with Ember, and that will give you the possibility of having some spell effect or some magic attached to it, sort of. Therefore, you will be able to become a sort of spellcaster if you choose to do so. That being said, you cannot be a super wizard throwing fireballs at level 1. No, we have chosen to not do that. Why? Because we thought that it was nice to do something different, where you will have, as a player, to seek out for magical power. So something in between our reality and a fantasy world, which is why it's low fantasy. And that's a choice that we have decided to go because we find it more interesting, or not more interesting, but different from what all the other games are proposing to you. We know that it's something that some players are turned off. Some players really want to be a wizard, a level 1 that throw fireballs, but you have plenty of other games that will give you that experience. So maybe try out Embers Adrift and see how you feel to be a player that starts with no power and have to earn it in the end. Maybe you will find that really exciting, and that long quest to be able to throw fireball at the end. I'm not promising that you will be able to cast fireball specifically, but maybe, okay? So a little pinch of salt for that one. It's not a promise. But that long quest, where you will have, from a lore perspective and from a gameplay perspective, invest yourself into seeking the power of the Ember to become that wizard that you have in mind and that you can play at level 1 in other game. Maybe it will interest you, seeker of magic and knowledge. Maybe you will find it interesting. Frank, maybe I will get the power to fish. This is also something we are planning to add in game. It is not in game yet, and it's probably going to be simple in related to some other MMORPG. It might not be as evolved as in New World, right? But we want to have fishing as well. How and when, I do not know. But that's something I've been personally strongly pushing over, and I'm not the only one. So it's really something we feel very strongly in the team we want fishing. So hopefully it will be before launch. At least in some fashion. Maybe we'll have a simplified version before launch, and then we can detail it a bit better later. I don't know, we'll have to see that. Next topic, crafting and adventuring. I've been talking about that last week, but as I'm not publishing the episode of last week, I'm just going to reiterate about this subject. It's quite important. So the reason why we are tying up crafting together with adventuring, how does that happen first? You will be able to level crafting, but not independently of adventuring, meaning that once you reach a certain point in crafting, you will have to catch up on the adventuring side. So you cannot be sitting at the city crafter anymore. That will not be possible. At some point, you will have to leave the security of the village and go adventuring. More specifically, there is a difference of 10 level you can have before you need to catch up with adventuring. Therefore, let's imagine that you're level 15 in crafting. Well, if you are level 5 in adventuring, you will not be able to progress anymore with your craft. You will have to level up and catch up with your adventuring before you can continue to progress in your crafting. The reason why it is done, it's because we want a crafter and adventurer, and we want to create this high level of interdependency between player. As you can be a crafter and craft everything all by yourself on your 3 different characters, you will be tempted or almost forced to be a harvester with your main character, like I personally did. It's the most efficient way. You have your adventuring character is the one going to pick up all of the leather and all of the mine. It makes sense. And your alt are sitting at the city being a crafting mule. And we don't want to do that, but we cannot also forbid it to player. If players really want to do it, they can sort of doing it. But in that case, we're removing the choice of player to really make a choice, because one aspect is more efficient than another. It kind of pushes the player in one single direction. All right. The second reason is that crafter mule is not really participating to the life of the game. It's just sitting there at the city, and we want player to interact with each other, to help each other, and to collaborate with each other. By forcing crafter to go adventure, maybe a player will be a crafter on all, will cover all the craft with his 3 character, but at least it will be forced to go out and interact with other players, have adventure with them, group up to find materials and to develop their crafts. And so we are recreating this level of interdependency between players without having to reduce the players to only 1 or 2 character slots, which will not be fun. So yes, you can be all the crafter with your 3 character, but you will have to participate to the life of the server and go adventure in exchange of that. In-game activity. So what do we have planned for in-game activity? This is not something we're really ready to announce, but we are certainly going to do something. However, we are not planning to do a vertical progression, or at least not a very strong vertical progression like you can see in games like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV, which really are building up the game in such a way you have the leveling experience, then you arrive to a plateau where you continue to level up with your gear progression. Therefore, you can access to more powerful or more difficult and challenging content. Then you need more gear, etc., etc. So we are more into the idea of giving you the possibility of continuing your journey. Embers Adrift is about having an adventure with friends, and we don't really want to have an end game, because end game, well, there's the word end in endgame, and that's not cool. We want just the journey to continue. Therefore, you can expect new zone with new chain quests, new mystery to learn about, new dungeon, new creature to find out, all of that kind of fun stuff. And obviously you will have new equipment, etc. Maybe those new equipment will not be more powerful, but they might be different. Who knows? We have not been really actively working on that part yet, because for now we are focusing on perfecting the leveling aspect of our game. We will not have raids in the same sense than Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft then again. However, we are wanting to have a special dungeon and the likes, and maybe world bosses. We have been thinking about different things that will give you a special activity to do while you are being an endgame character. But we're not ready to speak about it yet. Like I say, we're really putting all of our effort right now to focus on the journey to reach endgame, because if our journeys suck, no one is going to stay to play the end game anyway. So it has to be good, especially in a game like us, where we really want this journey to take a long time, or to be important and to matter. In many different games, you will see that the player are rushing through the leveling experience because they feel like the end game is where it all starts. We don't want that. The game starts at level 1. Your journey, your progression, your quest is very important, and that's where the fun starts. And you will see, and I'm going to show you immediately something that you will discover later today if you're playing into the game, or you will well, if you're not a beta tester, you can see now what we're talking about with the strike ability. So that's the strike ability. So it is a new ability that will not continue to develop. So it will only be useful for, let's say, the 10th first level. But it gives you the possibility of having a little bit more of things to do while you're killing your target. And your target is going to die faster as well. Oh! I receive a vicious ember flux already. That's really cool. And I can gather my carcass because I've decided on this character I will be a hunter and an armor crafter, which I never tried before. So I've never done that. It will be very new for me. Until now, I've only been crafting my own consumable, potion, food, tea, and arrows. So arrows you can do as a weaponsmith, but with the weaponsmith I never bothered to actually create a weapon. I only created the arrows because it was the only thing that interested me. But this time I've decided I'm going to try something different. I want to try the new crafting system and how it feels, and so I will be doing this armor smith. Sorry. So does the game run on ultra-wide monitor? Yeah, it does work on ultra-wide monitor. That being said, I don't have one myself, so I've not tried it myself. But you can ask Inea, for example, is one of those people that are playing the game on ultra-wide, and I've even have taken screenshot on ultra-wide, and it's worked really nicely. No, you cannot learn everything on a single character, but you can learn everything on a single account. So on an account you can create 3 character slots, which I think is a little bit too low, but we have been discussing about that and it's not going to change. I'm sorry, even if I try, but no. We will just have 3 characters per account, and you do have 3 gathering profession and 3 crafting profession. Therefore, you can be absolutely everything on a single character. No, not a single character, on a single account, but not a single character. On a character, you can only choose two. So it can be two harvesting, on one harvesting and one crafting. That you will have to choose what you prefer. Personally, the other weeks I was playing Harvester as my main character, so I was Forester and Hunter on my striker, and I had two crafts on my supporter. But this time I try things differently. And so I will be Hunter and Armor Smith on this character. You are playing on the ultra wide screen for board. A lucky boy to have a very nice and large screen. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, but I can understand that it will be annoying. But no, the game worked very nicely on well, according to the people that have played it, of course. I have not tried it myself, as I do not have an ultra wide screen, and I don't think I will want one. You're very welcome. My pleasure. If you have any other question, feel free to ask them. Look at this beautiful sky. Something I've not been talking about that were in the patch notes is that the latitudes have slightly changed as well. So further you go in the north, the latitude or the height of the sun and the planets will be a little bit different in the sky. And the time of the dawn and the sunset will also slightly be different. Hello, Bizobis. Good day to you. So let me see what I do have in my inventory. I already have plenty of leaves that you use to do tea. You can do tea with a provisioner. I'm not going to be provisioner with this character, so I will have to give my tea leaf to someone so that someone can craft my tea for myself. But I am yes, I will probably do a lot of leather with this, and probably making some food as well that a provisioner can cook for me. Yeah, but our tech director is astrophysician. So you can bet that this type of things are very important to him. So it needs to make sense. You want to have a beautiful sky that makes sense. And the sky is also what serves us to guide ourselves. Yeah, you know, if you were not aware of this, for those of you that are not aware of this, we do not have a minimap and we do not have a compass. And that's not something we are going to add. That's the minimap we have. And together with the planet that you can see here, that give you the direction of the north, you kind of know where you are. Okay, north is here, the planet is there. I'm on this road. I just passed by this fire over here. So I must be somewhere here. And that's how you can guide yourself. What we have done as well, I'm going to show you this. Let's go back to the embering just right there. I'm sorry, we just left it. But you can see the embering you are around highlights. So you will always know in which embering you're situated yourself. But that's as far as we will go for having a GPS function on your map. What we want is you to know the world. We want you to observe the road, to have this feeling of discoverability. And some people enjoy it a lot. Some people enjoy it less because it's not something they are used to anymore in video game. But the people that are enjoying it, it's some features they can never find in any other game because it has completely disappeared. And it creates a real nice feeling of having to discover the world and to know it and to be good at it or to be bad at it. So the people that are good at it, they can become guides, they can help other players to find their way, and they really have this sense of, I'm an explorer, I know the land by heart, I can guide my friend, I can guide my guild, I am useful. And that's not something that you can do in any other MMORPG nowadays because everyone knows where everything is. Because it's written on the Wikipedia and the map is a GPS. Furball is asking how many devs are working on the game. We're 11 developers in the studio and we have a few contractors that are doing specific work time to time when we need them. All right, so here we have thief. The thief appears only during the night. There are bad thieves stealing the hard work of the farmer. And you will see that I'm also fighting with a staff, a quarter staff. You can see what I was telling you about the positional bonus. The chat is kind of hiding it, but you just see it. On the edge. Here I'm in front of my targets. I'm in the front position. And with the quarterstaff, I do have plus 30 hits. So that allow me to crit. Plus 30 hits and plus 2 because I have flanking. So you can see in my combat stat, I do have plus 2 in flanking. Flanking being a stat that you have on certain armor. Which armor is giving me flanking? It's the leather hem. Oh shit. Alright, that's not going to work. Alright. So I've been doing this. I'm looting that. Alright. I'm going to resell this. And goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I'm going back on the road because I will not be able to fight 3 thieves at once. That's not possible. Well, I don't think it's possible. Maybe I could have tried. I can try, actually. Let's try. And if things go bad, I'm going back on the roads. All right. Let's see if I can do that now that I have a new thing here. Can I use that? No. Because I have a new ability, so maybe this will help me to kill this thief faster. Actually, I think I could be able to do it. Quite interesting. Before, it would not have been possible. I will have died in horrible suffering. For that, there it is. I'm healing myself. And of course, I'm almost out of stamina, but I fight 3 enemies almost in a row, so that's pretty good. And if I'm really in trouble, I can take a potion. So it did work really nicely. Before, it would not have been possible. And of course, there's never one thief, no. Because thieves are always working in bands. It is what... Ooh! Ooh! Thief gloves. With 5 penetration. Awesome. That's really good. So that did change. Beautiful sky. I think I'm going to go to the to the crafting table and see if I can start to craft. As the crafting is one of the focus of this cycle, I really need to get into it so I can know, if only to explain to other player how it works. Because in the moment I'm a little bit of a noob with crafting and I have difficulty to give the right and correct answer to people when they ask me a question about how crafting is working. I'm a bit like, I don't know, I've only done provisioning. So I know that I prefer provisioning myself, and that's what I will play at the launch of the game. But now that we are testing, need to try different things, right? And for you too, it's the occasion of discovering different things as well, to see what you prefer to play before launch, if not for just giving your feedback, for yourself as well on a more selfish manner. It can be interesting for you. What I will say is that while I know we can find belt and boots and sword on other animal, it is not overly done at the moment. Since I have started streaming, there had been not a single drop except for that, but I think that was on a thief, so... Alright, let's go to the city. I'm still going to take that beer. No, I'm not. It's a chevron 2. I don't want to do that. That's a chevron 1. Yeah, that's the way our creators are disappearing when they are being removed from the world. That's what's happening. Oops. It's perfect. We will have a very beautiful day to start with. The server are open in 30 minutes from now. And in 30 minutes from now, we will have our squad stream event, which will be really, really exciting. With Morolan and Pant, which are two awesome streamers, and Drindin that will answer all of the questions. Yes. I was like, no, that's not where the fire is. You see, now we have again. I love this. I love this. All right, I'm going to take a screenshot of me posing here like this because that looks really cool. Well, there you are. All right, let's start up a little bit of crafting. So I guess I'm going to do leather, right? Maybe I'm going to do, because we have fur and we have leather. I don't know what I need for what. So I'm going to do 20 fur. And then I'm going to do 20 leather. And then 20 meat. And the meat is for someone who's going to craft me some food. I'm going to pay that person for the food. So I will have some food, some delicious cooked meat. When I was crafting my food myself, okay, leather. Now we're going to do 20 leather. When I was crafting my food myself, I was always using my food together with the wood, because it gives you a little extra bonus. That being said, wood is so difficult to get that I'm wondering if it's really useful. For that little bonus, so that might be some feedback I'm going to give related to crafting. I've never given any feedback related to crafting so far. And let's do 20 meat and everything else. I will keep it like that, and I will see what's more interesting. So I can already have someone to craft me 20 pieces of meat. And I'm 6 in hunter now. Which I mean, I can choose my first craft, my second craft, which will be armor smith. Yeah, so much meat. I know it's because I'm a good hunter, the number. That's why. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to craft my tea leaves as well as I can. Let's craft all of them. And, but... And when you are refining just refining the your ingredient is really boosting you as well. So I can understand that you have this kind of halting need of being an adventurer, and so your progression in crafting is going to halt at a moment if you're never going to adventure. It makes sense. So now I can get my second craft, which will be outfitter. There we go. I'm learning it. There. And I will see what I can do. Too hot to go outside? No, I think it's good weather. Here's the job. So what I could create myself. I have some gloves, that's nice. But what I don't have is greaves. Can we do greaves? Oh, I can do leather folds. Yeah, I can do greaves. And I can do leather vambrace. Okay. And I don't need fur. So I don't know the fur for what it's used. It seems to be used for nothing I'm doing. And I can choose flux. Oh, I don't have thread. All right, I need to buy thread. All right, so first, I don't know for what fur is used. So I have some fur, but no clue about what to do with it. All right. So let's sell my other crap. So selling this, selling that, and that, and that, and this as well. So pretty good. Wow, that's a lot of silver. What's this? No, I cannot sell that. All right. Okay, so let's buy some thread. Okay, we're going to buy 40 of them immediately. I'm also going to drop that helm, because I'm going to give it to someone, I guess. And the kunai I'm not keeping on me either. All right. So now I can do that. What I have as boots, I have my muddy boots. Yeah, let's make some super cool boots. Crafted 1 to 10. Let's do it. I'm crafting a good pair, or maybe I will just do the bracer. Or the fold. 15 armor weight? No, that would be too heavy. Let's do the leather embrace. Leather embrace. Okay. I will have 2 in flanking. Awesome. So if I'm removing, let's remove deselect material. Will I also have 2 in flanking? Wait a second. How much it will cost me? 2 leather and 2 coarse thread. Oh yeah, sure. Let's see. I just want to see. Okay, what's the bonus then? So 5 armor class, and here 5 armor class. 3 armor weights, 3 armor weights, 2 flanking, 2 flanking. So how come that this is better? Is it just a chance? It's maybe just a chance. I'm going to try it again. It's imbued coarse, lean leather boots, and I have no stat modifier. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. Ah, but you can see my little gloves. They are looking cool. Yeah. All right, let's try to do some greaves. Because I can, so I'm crafting 1. And 1. Okay, let's see. Should be right enough. Okay, that's perfect. And it's give me 2 flanking as well. 2 flanking. So I've basically wasted some ember flux. Yeah. I can destroy that. I don't need it. Right. Okay, friends. I am going to... I will close the show here. I think it's perfect to close the show. And voila, it is time to end the show. Thank you very much to everyone that watched this video. Do not hesitate to leave a comment if you find it interesting. Give us a like. It's always nice for the algorithm gods to promote more content and allow new players to discover about Embers Adrift and see if it's a game that could fit their taste and needs. If you have any question, do not hesitate once again to ask them in the comments below, or if you have any request, and I will try to focus the next episode upon those requests. You take care of yourself, and I will see you next time. Thanks again. Take care. Bye.